Sorry, I sound terrible. I have like all the sniffles going on today, so that's great. But anyways, I'm super excited for tonight. So we have Julia on with us. I thought I saw her. Okay, I see you. Hello. You guys, I'm so excited. So I literally just messaged her last night, and I was like, will you please get on with us? So I've been watching her for months. Like, I don't even really, like, I've never met you or reached out to you or anything, but I've been watching her for months. Her Instagram is like addicting to watch. Like, she's one of those people that just like draws you in. And so I'm just super excited for her to get on tonight, share her story, because I've never actually even heard your story. And then we will go into like some questions from there. If you guys have any questions, I'm not sure, I already have a list of questions, but if you do have any questions that you want to add to the chat throughout, you can. But I am recording. So, okay, Julia, if you can just start by introducing yourself, tell us your story, and then we can kind of just go from there.
For sure. Okay. Hey, you guys, I'm Julia. And just to like give you guys a warning, I don't normally go by any kind of plan or anything. So if I jump around and you get lost, just ask. But I'm 25 and I have been with It Works for, I was thinking about this earlier, and I believe my 3 years is this coming week. So I'm super excited about just being with the company. I've never lost my excitement. And that's one of the things that I love most is like, our company constantly reinvents themselves and you never really get bored with it. Like, there's always something new and always something to be excited about. So I'll tell you guys kind of how I got started. I was in college and I was following one of my Insta friends, and I saw that she just like her life totally transformed. And we were already friends on Instagram and she kept asking me about it, but I was in college. I had 3 different jobs and I did like the famous I don't have time thing. And then one day she told me, like, we were really good friends. And so she told me what she was like making. I was like, you know what, like, forget it. I'll just try. So my mom had to pay for me to join. And when I do something, I do go all out with it. Like, I'm not going to half it. So I was like, I'm going to really go all in with this. And within like 2 days, I sold the wraps and the kit and I paid my mom back and I was addicted to it. So, in college, I played basketball. I played basketball in high school, and that's where I had really like put my identity. And so after a couple years in college, I really didn't want to do basketball anymore, and I quit. And I kind of was like in that limbo of figuring out what my calling was and where I should put my passion. And it was almost like God just kind of brought It Works to me and put it in my lap. And I fell in love with the company, and I found like my new sport kind of, and a way to make it my own. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to talk with you guys about, is like how I've just kind of made this my own thing. And my husband is in the military, so there could not be a more perfect job for me. He's always going in different places, and the company has always provided for me to make my own money and do my own thing. So anytime he goes on a training, I have my own house in Georgia where my family lives, and I come home, and just that freedom is irreplaceable. Like, the money and all the cool stuff aside from that, the money, I mean, the freedom is just, I could never replace it. And I love to travel, so it just all goes hand in hand. So I guess that's like the gist of how I got in with It Works. And then since I've been here for 3 years, I have been able to become debt free. I did graduate college, which is just like in a box somewhere. I never planned to use that, but it's cool to say that I have, I guess, if I want it at some point. And I mean, when people ask me like what I've done, literally anything good that I've done pretty much came from It Works, because before that it was just a lot of scrap metal of being in high school and coming to this. So I have my own house, I have my own car. I don't have any student loans or any credit card bills. Everything I pay for cash. I travel pretty much all year. One thing I did want to mention on is that I made a dream board a few years ago. I've always wanted to go to Paris, and because of It Works, I went to Paris not just once but twice in 2018, and that has really taken my business to a whole new level. Like, kind of investing what I've made into myself to share my experiences with other people is one of the things that I love most about the company. So that's my like squirrely intro.
No, you're amazing. Yeah, I love like watching you guys. Her page is just, it's like you just see it and you're just like, it's so beautiful. It's so perfect. Her Instagram, it's very drawing. And like, I don't know, I think I found you on the Explore page, and then like I watched one of your stories and I was just hooked because she's freaking hilarious. Like, you just watch them and she's just really funny. You just share so much outside of the business, and that's what draws people to you. And so can you have you built completely through social media? Or how?
Yeah, pretty much. I used to do wrap parties when I first started, but what I realized is that I was just trying to do something that really wasn't for me, and it was kind of a waste of my time. And social media is really my thing, and it's what I'm more comfortable with, is kind of in my own zone. So I don't really do much outside of that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because we're a huge social media team too. I think almost all of us build
Yeah.
completely through social. So can you kind of just like walk us through like what do you do on the daily? Like what are your non-negotiables every single day you do to build and grow your business?
For sure. So I get up super early, like 4 a.m. because I really have to have my own time to focus, and it took me a long time to figure out what schedule works for me. But when I can have like a solid 5 hours before other people are awake, it just really works for me. So you have to kind of find your own schedule. But I wake up and I teach in the mornings to Chinese students for a couple hours, and then I go right into my self-development, and I spend just like an hour or so reading my Bible and reading a book that I'm doing and just journaling and kind of like in my own zone. And then I will do an hour of just solid straight it works. So what I've figured out that works best for me, because I like to be nonstop, is I have to just do small increments and be really focused. So I almost have a schedule for myself. I have alarms in my phone, and like at 9 a.m. I'm interacting on social media, and at 12 p.m. I'm interacting on social media. So those are always, I have 4 like exact times that I always make sure that I go interact a little bit. But that 1 hour in the morning, it's like me responding to messages, responding to people on my team, interacting with people on my social media that I know have been interested for that 1 hour. And then I have my own time at the gym, which like, I feel like a lot of the things that I talk about might seem like they're not related to the business, but I promise you, figuring out what really works for you and makes you happy makes you so much better of a worker. And when I figured out that I didn't actually have to sit on my phone for 25 hours, which isn't even possible, and try to work, I work so much better if I just give it a solid like 6 hours throughout the day. And there are plenty of days like when it's close to like promo time or there's something big going on that I will work like a solid 18 hours. But for me personally, a few hours throughout the day really works for me. And then in the middle of the day, there's a 4-hour window, and I pretty much always go to Starbucks and sit in there, and I will work that straight 4 hours solely with the business. And then I do another devoted hour at night. And then throughout the day, of course, I'm always checking messages and interacting, but a lot of that is less structured, and those are the times that I'm super focused. Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, yeah, no, that was really good. So yeah, because that's the blessing about this business, that you don't have to, like, I think a lot of people start and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't just be on my phone 24/7 all the time. And like, when you do that, it truly does get exhausting, because there are, like
Yeah.
when you first quit your job, you're almost like, what do I do? Like when I started, I was working 2 jobs, go to school full time as well. And whenever that stopped, it's almost like that was harder, because like I had all this extra time. So when you just give yourself like those small increments and like those power hours, I truly do feel like you just get so much more done throughout that time. So, okay. So you are big on like branding yourself. And I love that you mentioned like, you don't post about the business all day long, but you're still getting so many people like attracted to you. We honestly haven't went through like a lot of like about branding yourself on social media and stuff like that. So can you kind of just like talk about what you're doing, kind of like just what it is, just any tips really that you have about that?
Yes. So I've always been interested in the whole like idea of being a blogger. And for the longest time, I felt like I wouldn't be able to do that because of It Works and that type thing. But what I realized is, and what I really hope that if you guys get anything from me, because I do know that I jump around a lot, is just that when you really figure out how to be yourself and you get comfortable with that and you are genuinely being yourself at all times, that's when your business really skyrockets. And it took me a long time to get comfortable with who I am. And I rarely wear makeup on my stories. I will wake up and like look a hot mess and get on there. And what happened is, because of It Works, for the longest I wanted to create my own brand and kind of like a blog site, and it took me a long time to be able to fund that. And I saved up because of It Works and created my own brand, which I called Lazy Hustler, because I feel like that was just kind of the theme of It Works. And it was always something that I never intended to replace It Works. I never intend for it to. I wanted it to really work together to kind of be able to make my own version of the business, if that makes sense. And my whole motto with that is like success in the mess, because that's how I feel. I always feel like a hot mess just everywhere. And I think that if people are honest, they would agree that they're probably like that a lot more often than they would ever care to admit. So the people on my team have become very comfortable being themselves. And when I let people just do what they want to do, they work so much better. And so I really branded myself on that idea that I'm success in the mess, and I'm super into like editing and creating like a really curated feed. So in my feed, everything looks perfect. And then if you go to my stories, you might be like, okay, never mind, she's a little crazy. And you'll see like real life. And so like the combo of that, of letting people, you know, see that like, this is definitely a highlight reel, and then sharing more of myself has really created like relationships on social media, and people will tell me everything about their life. Like they've really created a friendship with me. And in the beginning, when I started It Works, it was definitely all a money thing for me. I'm just going to be real with y'all. Like I never saw the potential to have the effect that I have. But the messages that I've gotten over the last year of me, like sharing my journey while my husband has been deployed, or, you know, sharing like the hard parts of that, or just all different kinds of things, I've really made a difference in just a few amount of people's lives. And then they're always interested in products. They're like, tell me their whole life story, and then they're interested in products. And so I feel like it's become bigger than just a product thing. And when I really take the time to create those relationships, of course they want to support what I'm doing. And of course they see that I'm constantly, you know, creating the products. And I'm always talking about them, but they're just very mixed in with my regular life.
Yeah, and I think that's so important too, is like she's always on her Instagram and she's just talking, like she's showing who she is, her face. She's just showing like throughout her day, like no matter what you're kind of doing, like you just show throughout your day. And like I was thinking about this earlier, like I was watching for literally this live video about this girl unpacking her groceries, and I was just like sitting there for so long, and I'm like, why am I watching this? But it's so like there's those things like that just like pull you in and intrigue you, because it's just like what someone else is doing with their life. That's what we do when we're on social media. You know, we're just scrolling through, looking and seeing what other people are doing. And so I think it's just really important to make sure you are putting that out there and not just posting like strictly business stuff. And I know a lot of times, like, you know, we join and we get so caught up in that. We're like, okay, like this is a business. We have to just be all business. So what are like some tips that you give to like your new distributors to kind of just help them be themselves and show who they are like on their social medias, as well as still include the business in it, if that makes any sense?
So one thing, oh, sorry guys, I wasn't even looking at yeah, someone put my thing there. Thank you. So one thing that I would say is, and this is advice that I always give my team, is to figure out why people follow you. So like, for example, I love your page because I love your style. We have like, well, I never really dress like that, but my dream style is to look cute and still comfortable. And I love like, you know, that's your style. And that's why I follow you, because I enjoy that. I enjoy listening to you talk. I enjoy your relationship and things like that. And so I can very clearly point out what I like about your page, and I can go to people on my team and clearly point out what I like about their page. And for a long time, I was trying to create this perfect feed and also have perfect stories and go on there only with my makeup on, and that just wasn't me. And when I became myself and just asked people like, hey, why do you even like me? Why do you like following me? And I got hundreds of the exact same messages, was that I was real and motivational. And so I just, once I asked what they liked, that's what I really try to like give to people. And so I would say, like number one, figure out what you like doing, what you like sharing, and make sure that you're having fun with this. Like, yeah, it's a job, but like the perk of this job is that it can be super fun. So figure out what you like doing. And then number two, ask what people like or want to hear from you, and then really focus in on that and try to create a system of that. And so like, for example, on my feed, I never really post products or anything like that. That's where I post like motivational captions and things where people can really relate to me. And then in my stories is where I'm using the products. And I really like to focus on, I'm not sure if people have ever noticed this following me, but at one time I will focus on a certain product. So for the longest, like last year, I lost 30 pounds on keto. So it was everything keto coffee, greens, constantly. And then for a little while, I went into skincare, but I always try to focus on a small amount of products because I don't want to overwhelm people. And then when they get to me, I ask them their goals and we can go into different products. But that's how I, kind of intertwine the two.
Okay, yes, I love it. That's awesome. So, okay, as far as like more, I guess, on the business building side, so do you message for distributors? Do you message for customers? Like how, or are they just all like just being attracted to you from your stories and from your post?
So I have never really done cold messaging. I think when I first started, someone told me to, and so I did it for a little while, but I was very uncomfortable with that. If that's your thing, like some people are really good at that. I even have girls on my own team that are really good at that, and I'm like, if that is your thing, 100% do it. But for me, I will send out warm messages is what I call them. So once I've already had several conversations with somebody, if I genuinely feel like they would be good at it, it's not something that I go and message everyone, but if I genuinely feel like they would, I'll reach out. But for the most part, I'm posting like the little unfold stories and just sharing my story and sharing the story of people on my team. And then one thing that I really like to do is create a Google form. So if you go to the link in my bio, you can kind of see it there, but it says like partner with me. And so they can go on, and I just asked a few questions like your name, why are you interested in this? Why do you like following me? What do you hope to gain from partnering with me? And so at that point, I've already asked all the hard questions, and then I can reach out to them. And what I've found by doing the Google form is that it kind of takes off the pressure of someone being nervous to message you, and they can go to that form and see what they're getting themselves into. Because a lot of times with the way that I'm posting, people don't sometimes understand that I'm with It Works, or they don't really know what It Works is, which blows my mind. I'm like, what planet do you live on? But they're like, what do you mean? What does It Works? I'm like, where have you been? So the Google form really breaks it down, and I explain what I do. And then that's how I get most of my distributors, is from the forms.
Okay, awesome. I just love that everybody just has like their own system. Like it's really just about finding like what works for you. And that's what I think too is like, we all join and we're like, okay, I'm just going to try to be this person, which I think that's, of course, like let those inspire you. But like the biggest thing that's going to really just take you, especially through social media, I think to success is just showing who you are as that person on social media. So you just do such a great job at that. So let's see. The new Live Fit app, are you utilizing that at all? And if so, like, how are you going about it?
Actually, my upline's BAM is trying to fix mine. So for some reason, it doesn't load everything. So they're still working on mine. But I'm super excited because I've always used the Reach app, which I hear ours is just like a much better version of that. But for some reason, my ID won't connect to it. So they're working on it. And I'm currently still using Reach. And I've used that for a long time with checking in with my loyals and following up.
Okay.
So I hope mine gets fixed soon because I'm super excited about that.
Some have been working and some haven't. So hopefully they do. Let's see here. Okay, so I know you're huge on self-development.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, I always see you, like you said, you do that like first thing every morning. You post on your stories a lot. So is there anything that you recommend?
Yeah, so for me personally, wow, I've read a lot of books, like self-development books. I'm not into any other kind, but for me, self-development was a game changer. Once I really figured that out is when I got comfortable just being myself. And like for the longest, if I would have had to do this training, I would have been panicking and really trying to overplan and be somebody that I'm not. And I can't do that. Like it really stresses me out. And so the self-development made me really comfortable with who I am and starting my morning like that before I open messages, because I don't know about you guys, but who knows what I'm going to read when I open a message. Like it could be anything. So I like to like put on my armor. So some of the best books that I've read that you guys have probably heard of are like, what is it called? Get Over Your Damn Self, How to Be a Badass. Is that what it's called? There's some under me. I don't know what that one's called. I'll have to put them in the chat afterwards, maybe. Okay. But Get Over Your Dumb Self, How to Be a Badass. More recently, I've been into super like non-cursing books, even though the first two that I just said definitely had cuss words in them. But Chase the Lion was like a game changer for me. Such a good book. The one that I just finished yesterday, I read in 4 days, and it was called It's Not Supposed to Be This Way. So one of the things that I've had to deal with in the last like several months is my husband's been deployed for 9 months now, and he was gone for 3 months before that. And so that's created a lot of weird situations in my life. And it's sometimes super hard to get on. And I know that a lot of you a lot of life happens in 3 years. When I've been in the business, a lot of things have happened. And so a lot of life is probably happening to you guys. And it's hard to want to get on social media and be positive when you don't really feel positive, or be excited when you're not really excited. And so if you're going through a tough time right now, I definitely recommend that book. It's by Lisa. I'm not even about to ruin her last name, but Lisa T. And she's also the one who wrote Uninvited, another good one. And then the Rachel Hollis books, of course, super good. Girl, Wash Your Face. That's another one of my favorites. I have so many. I would have to just send you a whole list. And then the other thing that I like to do is watch a motivational video. So I read part of a book, read part of a devotional, read part of my Bible, and then I will watch a self-development. And lately at 9 a.m. Eastern time, Rachel Hollis does a live video, and that's been my jam lately. It's super motivational and gets me pumped up, but sometimes I'll just like YouTube Eric Thomas. That's pretty much my morning self-development routine.
Is she on Instagram or Facebook that goes live?
Both. She does both at the same time, so either one.
Let's see. Okay, if you could tell yourself one thing when you first started in your business, what would it be? I always like this question just because I'm like,
let's see. If I could tell myself one thing. I think, like I said in the beginning, is that when I started this, it was really all about the money for me. And I don't think I really understood like the power that I would have as far as like the responsibility that I've gotten. So I think I would tell myself to just relax a little bit and see the bigger picture and have fun with it, and really take the time to get to know people and create that relationship so that it can be much long lasting. Like I definitely blew through relationships in the beginning with people on my team, because I don't know if you guys do color personalities, but I am very red. And if people don't relate to me, like I was just like, okay, well, do your own thing. And like now I've taken the time to really get to know people and figure out, you know, how I can get along with them and how I can get them to be their best. So I just like telling myself to take the time to build relationships and really try to get the most out of this and be focused on the larger picture.
Yes, I love it. Okay, and if you guys have any other questions too, you can throw it over in the question box. But are you going to conference?
I hope so, but that's that area. I can't say exact dates, but is tentative for my husband to come home. So I have a ticket and hopefully I'll make it, but it's really probably going to come down to the last day, knowing the military, if anybody can relate to that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hope he does. Okay. Y'all have any Instagram questions? Choose your girl. So do you do Facebook as well as Instagram?
Yeah, I do Facebook. I do a lot of lives on Facebook. I used to do more of them with like doing my makeup and stuff like that. But like lately I've been traveling so much. I think that was another question that you asked me about traveling. And what I have learned is like I really try to capitalize on everything. So if I travel, I actually schedule out days where I do like business pictures and things like that, because a lot of the ways that people find my page are like the explore page, thinking I'm a blogger or something, and then I'm like, actually you're about to buy some greens. And you know, like really taking the time to do that. And so I always, even when I'm traveling, I do that same routine in the morning where I definitely take an hour. And I do try to live a little when I vacate, so I'm a little more flexible, but I'm always, every night, I've always responded to every message, especially if it was business related, and gone through all the Google Forms and things like that. So I never just don't do the business. There hasn't been a day in all 3 years that I haven't worked on business. Do I have any, okay, hold on. My team had a couple questions. How to build consistency and keeping organized when you have so many potentials. Okay, that's a good one. I actually have the It Works planner, which if you guys don't have, I really recommend. I love that planner. It has like a huge area for follow-ups on the side. I'll show y'all. I don't know if everyone has it. This is like next week's, but it has that whole column where you can do follow-ups on it. So if I talk to someone, I will jot their name down. But what I really like doing on Facebook is just setting a reminder, because it reminds them too. So I'll either try to get them to my text or Facebook, not really on Instagram, because I lose messages in Instagram so easily. So I'll either get their number and put them in reach, or set a reminder on Facebook for that. How do you build consistency and keeping organized? Okay, we did that one. best way to caption pictures and post. For most of those, for the pictures, if I have a feeling like I get really preachy, the reason I'm not good at very structured trainings is because I'm basically our team preacher. Like I will go on there and do the motivational talks and stuff like that. I'm much better at that than I am at giving details. And so I'll go on there and preach to them. So a lot of times I feel those ways. So if I feel like I have something I want to say, I'll just put it in my notes and then I save it until I have a picture that kind of matches with that vibe, if that makes sense. But I always really try to bring my captions from my heart, because I can tell, like, if I find a caption that I like and I try to steal it, people aren't with that at all. Like, I really have to make sure it's something that I felt and that I came up with. So that's definitely my best advice on that. Best engagement tips. If you want engagement, you have to engage. So every time I travel and I'm engaging less, it's like it just tanks. So I really try to go on there. Like I said, I set an alarm for 9, 12, 3, 6, and 9 are my times. And every single time I go on there, and for at least 30 minutes, I will respond to Instagram stories. I'll comment on pictures and I'll like. And a lot of times I try to get my team on a Zoom or like a Facebook group chat where we just all do it together and try to race and make it fun. So doing that every single day is something that I always do. Do you post polls on your Instagram story, and do you have any results? Yeah, I really like doing the question thing, asking people a question rather than a poll, because even if I put the poll in the most crazy place, they will always say they hit it on accident, and there's nothing that burns my fire than like wasting my time. So I like for people to really, like ask me, or I'll reach out to them. But I'm telling you, like, if you're consistent, every single morning I drink my keto coffee, and I know Courtney does the same thing, and people will get curious. Like, they really will. It may take a little bit more time, but they definitely get curious. And occasionally I'll do a poll, like if I'm having a dry spell and I haven't signed a loyal in like a day and I start getting panicky, I'll do something like that. But for the most part, questions and just actually posting me using the products. Should we keep our profile private? I don't. I mean, you can. I don't think that there's really like a rhythm or rhyme to that. I've tried both ways. I think it's just whatever you're most comfortable with on that one. And do you have any
self-development before this business?
Did I do self-development before this? Oh gosh, no. I didn't have my life.
Nobody does, but like it's so important. Once you get involved, you know what I mean? Like it's so much in your mind.
And like even my first year in the business, I kept hearing people say that. And I'm like, I am not about to read a book. That's why I'm done with college. But now like I'm addicted to it. And most of the time I do a lot of the reading. I'll do some of it in the morning, like I told you guys. But when I go to the gym, I'll sit in the sauna for 30 minutes. And that's usually when I really read a book, because my phone will overheat in there. So I'm forced to take in a book or something.
All right, with this
do I use hashtags? Sometimes I use hashtags, but I'm a little psycho with like how my feed looks and stuff like that, and I don't like the look of hashtags under the caption, so I don't always use them. But I will tell you guys for sure that I use hashtags in my Insta stories, and that's what really has made the difference for me. And if you type out all the hashtags and then you make it really small, you can slide it off the screen so nobody can see it, and it still shows up in the people who are following those hashtags. And that is really, I get a lot of followers with like my gym selfie pictures. Every time I leave the gym, I always take a selfie, and I'll hashtag it with like leg day or whatever, and I'll get a lot of followers from that.
Also, so okay, I know you noticed that you've been like kind of like shouting out other people and profiles and stuff that you like to follow as well. So is that something like you just do without talking to them, or is that something like you're having a conversation with them and like being like, hey, like, I'll shout you out if you shout me out, kind of thing?
Sometimes it's planned. A lot of times it's not, and they will just naturally re-shout me out. For example, a girl did that yesterday, and I got 100 followers from that. And so it really just, I mean, sometimes nobody knew, but a lot of times they are new. And I definitely recommend finding people that are similar to you with this similar amount of followers and partnering up for giveaways and things like that, and really working. I mean, a lot of people are working from social media these days and they want to grow. And even if somebody has, like when I was smaller Instagram and I had around 3,000 followers, I was wanting to work with people who had 50,000 followers and they didn't want to work with me. But what I've learned is like this, if you have a smaller amount, you typically have more engaged people. So don't be afraid to work with people who have smaller amounts of followers and things like that, because I get followers, like tons of followers from people with like 3,000. I'm like, whoa, it's crazy. My Instagram is public. Yeah.
Do you have any, so for your picture editing, do you use Lightroom?
Yeah, I use Lightroom. I actually just did a post about that. I just posted it on my Instagram about how I edit pictures, but I use presets. I think that makes a huge difference. Like, I don't want to tell you guys what to do, but I'm telling you, if you just take your time, like I beg of you, I will literally get on my knees for my team and beg them to please take your time to just take some nice pictures. Like, you can take them yourself on a tripod, but when you take pictures and people can actually see who you are and get to know who you are, and you don't have to like be perfect or like be like a blogger if you don't want to be, but actually making sure that your face and your body are in the pictures really does make a huge difference than when you just post a picture of your coffee cup, for example.
You guys, Lightroom just makes you feel so professional.
Like I could take a crusty, like 3 out of 10 picture, and if I put a preset on it, we're good to go. Like my mom knows, like she does all my pictures and she'll be like, it's about a 4. I'm like, all right, that's good enough. Let's roll on. And like with a preset, we're fine.
A little better. Yeah, you guys, you can buy, well, this is what I've done. You can buy a preset off of Etsy and then
super cheap.
It. Yeah, super cheap off Etsy. Download it to the Lightroom app, and that's how we are editing our pictures.
And I really like the, for stories, I do a lot of me talking on there, but I really think it makes a difference when you take time and make the cute unfolds, and like share your story with that or share using the products. I really feel like those have made a big difference for me, because I think people actually take more time to look at them because they're cute.
And I feel like it makes people more comfortable about doing it too, because it's like, oh, I can post cute stuff, not just
right. Like it's not like, oh, I'm gonna, because a lot of the people that I've reached out to before, they're like afraid of ruining their feed. I'm like, what's your feed for if you're not making any money? But like that's their main concern. I'm like, no, you can totally make this your own and make it super cute. $5, that's awesome. I paid like $35 for mine. But I have some that were $5 that I like just as well. So definitely doesn't have to be expensive.
Okay. Were you in a pod when you first got started, like a conversation or a interactive?
Yeah, I've done pods. I have one for my team that I mainly do for them, so that I can hype them up. But I don't really know that they make a huge difference. I think it kind of looks obvious when it happens. And so I have heard that it pushes down your algorithm. That whole thing just really confuses me. I just try to do my best, because I got really caught up in that at one point and I was trying to do all the things and it wasn't fun anymore. So I'm not really sure if that affects anything negatively or not. Oh, that's a sweet deal. A bundle of 30 presets for $5.50, girl. And so yeah, that's awesome. I use the same one. Like I have 2 different bloggers that I use, and one of the girls, I get like commission on that as well for like other people using it. So that's why I used hers for the longest, but I just switched to a new one, and you can definitely get them in the packs where they have multiple ones, but they really do make a huge difference for sure. I felt like there was something else I wanted to tell you guys, but I really do get squirrely when I get on these, because I have zero structure in my life. Like this business has ruined me in that aspect. And so has the military. I used to be a very planned person and very organized. And now I am just a mess in all forms.
My brain usually just goes blank when I get on them. They'll ask me a question. I'm like, start talking, and then I like forget halfway through.
I think like one thing that I definitely wanted, because you had asked me kind of like about branding yourself and things like that. And a lot of times what I've seen is like when people join my team, they'll try to immediately kind of do the things that I'm doing and try to do exactly what I'm doing. And I try to meet up with my team as much as I can, and I'll do like coffee with them or pictures with them is what we really like doing together, and it makes people really comfortable. But I really recommend that you figure out what you like to do and just really try to be yourself. I have girls on my team that are totally different than me, and I feel like when I first started, what I felt pressured in is to be like everybody else was, and to have this perfect look and talk perfectly and have everything together. And it just did not work for me because I could not do it. And when I just really came out of my shell and was like, I'm just going to do my own thing, and encouraged my team to do the same, it was a game changer. So if you guys feel like you have to have it all together, or you have to share only the perfect things that are going on in your life, most of like the best distributors that I got were from me sharing some kind of hot mess express on Instagram that they related to, and we really bonded. And for my team personally, whenever there's like a slow month or somebody's having a hard time signing people, I've learned that they really stick with this business because they've created a relationship with me and with our team, and really want to, you know, to stick it out. And so my team has gone through all kind of different things in our years, and I really feel like us just being ourselves and being really comfortable with who we are is everybody that promotes on my team. It's so crazy. Like, I don't even know how to put it in words, but every time somebody promotes, it's exactly when they came out of their shell and just decided to be themselves. So don't feel like if you think that you're different than other people, or different than a lot of the top leaders, that you can't be successful. I promise you that when you just get comfy with who you are, you really can.
Do you have a lot of local team?
Yeah, I don't know how, because I really am social media, but most of my team is local. And so we will do meetups for like photo shoots, and just pretty quickly, like 30 minutes an hour, because pretty much all of my team has children as well. And so that's kind of hard to coordinate them, but that's what we do for our meetups, is just meet up and do photo shoots. And that's been really fun too, because a lot of them were like, I don't take good pictures. I don't like being in pictures. And so nervous in their first ones, and now they're like doing cartwheels in them, and I'm like, you guys, like, that's just, I don't know how to explain how much the business has done for me in that aspect, is just watching people like really figure out that they can be so much more. Because a lot of the people on my team, you know, I know this happens a lot. They're stay-at-home moms, and they kind of feel like they'll never be able to get back in their groove and do their thing. And then I watch them, and they're coming out and they're taking selfies, and they just like transform into this new person. And every time there's a promotion after, I'm like, I'm telling you guys, you just got to find your groove.
Yeah, you guys, we need to find like, well, if you like don't know anyone local, we need to just like make a, like, I don't know, like a chat or something on the team page, and like find people that are local, so you guys can just like get together and do that, because I do think that's such a good idea. Just do pictures. And
I think too, really promoting yourself, like most of the people that live in my hometown would think I was like the CEO of the company, because the way that I like carry myself and talk about my business, and they have no idea what company it is or anything like that. But there will be people that I went to high school with, like guys that I went to high school with, that will try to get their girlfriends to work with me and things like that, just because I've always thought about myself from day one as a leader. Like, I will never forget my third day in the business. I went live, or like, I think I had to record a video because it was before live, on our team page, and was talking and giving them tips like I had been in it my whole life. And I've just always thought of myself as a leader. So even if you guys don't have people on your team yet, or you just have a team of 2, always think of yourself as a leader, because you bought your own business and you can do it. And people are very attracted to leadership and people who, you know what they want and know what they're doing. Your grandpa, part owner, that is hysterical. Yeah, everyone thinks that I'm like huge in the company. I'm like, pretty much no one knows who I am, but it's all good. You don't have to know that. I try to stay out of any kind of spotlight as often as possible.
What rank are you?
Hopplebox. Is that your grandpa's name? That's funny. What rank are you? I am a double diamond. And that is one thing that I had thought about telling you guys, is for the longest, that is what I struggled with, is I got really caught up in that. And my leader has always said she's never been into like super into the promotions and the ranks and things like that. And so for me, like our motto together has always been chase the bank, not the rank. And while I do think, like, of course you want to get all of the perks of being a top leader and all of that kind of stuff, and I'm definitely not saying don't try, but as a double diamond, I have made more than the triple average. I've consistently made well over the double average my whole time. So I just haven't found a team that I feel comfortable doing that with to promote. Sorry, I lose my train of thought so easily. So I really have always focused on cabs constantly. So I have several diamond leaders on my team, and I was so close to triple a few months ago, but it just, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just didn't feel right. And even still, I well made over the average. And so if that's something that you're,
sorry, everyone's like unmuted. Okay, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's okay. So if that's something that you get like discouraged about, because there was a while there that I was like, why can I not promote? And then I got to go to the ranch in, when was that, June or July? I got to go to the ranch, and for me that was like a huge game changer. It was exactly what I needed, and I just realized that I just will keep doing my thing because I can enroll distributors and fast start them. I always enroll them and fast start them myself, and you can make total bank off that. So I would definitely say that you always want to go diamond, but after you go diamond, don't like beat yourself up. I've seen people quit. Like I had a girl on my team quit at diamond because she couldn't go double. I was like, girl, you could have been making crazy as a diamond. So never let that like discourage you. Never be ashamed of that. I'm proud to tell people I'm a double, even though it's been 3 years, you know, like that's one thing that I definitely wanted to touch on.
I think too, like, remember why you started, because the majority of us started for we joined, you know, for $300 to $500 a month. And then you have like a diamond, like, why am I not double yet?
And like, I'll get so mad sometimes if my check drops a little bit, and I'm like, all right, self, you need to chill. Like that's still 5 figures a month from social media. So I'm pretty sure you're all right. That's great. I'm glad, Demi. How to keep your distributors motivated. Most of the ones I've signed up, I don't beg anyone ever. Like I'm not a chaser. I know that some people do. That's not my thing. But I make it very clear that I'm always there for anybody, and I try to be there during their life situations. That's not my personality, so it is a little more difficult for me. But I try to check in with them, and I just try to make sure that they know what they're getting into when they start. So I never tell anyone this is like fast money. I never like make it seem like it's a get rich quick scheme. I really try to make sure that they know what they're getting into. And then like I said, pretty much every distributor I've signed already feels like my best friend before they join. So I really try to continue that relationship because I want them to be successful. You know, I don't have wanted to waste my time building that relationship, you know, and a lot of times when people quit, the friendship goes with it. And so I really try to just cultivate that relationship and figure out what they're good at and make sure that they know how to focus on that. But there are some people who are just going to quit, and there's nothing you can do about that, in my opinion.
I really like that you say that too, because I feel like a lot of people get so caught up in like the perfect conversation, and it's like there's no perfect conversation. There's not such a thing. Like it's literally just building that relationship and talking to them like they truly are, like, you know, one of your just like good friends, because if you can't have the wrong conversation with the right person, you know.
Seriously. And like, I think you had asked me to talk about follow-ups, and I forgot to speak on that. But for like follow-up things, like I am so myself at all times, and it's really comfortable. Like if I've talked to somebody a lot, I'll send a little GIF like looking in, or like Kim Kardashian going through the bushes, like, what are you doing? And they will at least laugh at that. And if they say they're not ready, I never pressure anybody. I'm like, all right, just whenever you're ready. And for some reason, me kind of brushing it off like that, they tend to sign up right after that. I don't know if it's some kind of test to me or what, but that always works. And then I will check in with people because this is how I talk, and I'll be like, so you ready or not? And sometimes they literally say nah, but most of the time they're like, yeah, just give me a little bit more information. And I think like me just being kind of chill with it makes them more comfortable. If that's not your personality, it would probably be awkward. But if just talk however you would normally talk to a person, because this is just another human being that probably doesn't have it together any more than you do.
Something, you guys, too, it's just that, like, I'm really just, like, taking from this, too, is she's confident. She's so confident in what she has her hands on. She's so confident in this business. she knows what she wants. And that is, I think, just absolute key is when you're confident about something, people are gonna like, they're attracted to that confidence. They're attracted to her because she's excited about this. Like they want to know what she has her hands on. So I think that's just so key. Like she said, when she started, you know, she's already doing videos. Like she was ready to go. Like if you just do that, like it's not about even feeling like you know it. Like you don't ever should feel like I still don't know everything. I've been doing this for almost 5 years. It's just about acting like you know it, and it's come, and the people just start coming to you.
Or just being confident in the fact that you might not know it all, but you'll still do your best and you'll still give it everything you have. And that's pretty much what I go with is like, I know I'm not the best at literally anything, but I will give it every single thing that I have. And my team is very confident in that. I'm pretty open with them. Like I can go live on my team page and cry and let them know everything I'm going through. And within 5 minutes, they're going to see me on my Insta stories laughing and telling jokes. Like that's just, you know, I know what I can do and I can really push myself. And so, yeah, like simplifying it, just taking all the complication out of it and just being yourself. Because for the longest, I was trying all these systems that people were doing and all these different things. And then like, I had these long scripts that I would send out. And now I'm just like, what questions do you have for me? Like, that has been a game changer for me because I used to send out like what our company is and all this kind of stuff. And I realized like a lot of people didn't want that from me. And instead they say they're interested. I'm like, okay, what questions do you have for me? And they're just like, how much is it? And I'm like, $100. Are you ready? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, wow, this is so much easier. And like, I don't know that that would work for everybody, but it's really what's worked for me is just totally being myself. And in the beginning, I was really worried about what people thought about me because they were never afraid to tell me. But I rarely have anyone bold enough that gets out of line with me about the company because I'm so proud of it. I've never not been proud of the company. And I think a lot of times when people come in new, they're a little hesitant because they've seen negativity and things like that. And people feel that and they will just sniff that out and go for you. So I promise you, like, be proud of this company. This is the best company, like the best network marketing company, hands down, because we're debt free. We can do so many different things and there's so many opportunities. Like I ate lunch with the CEO as a double diamond, you know, like I don't really see a lot of other companies having that potential to let somebody who's just randomly down there in the bottom, you know, eating lunch with the CEO. It's just not a thing. So I think really understanding what you have your hands on and understanding like who's in charge really just makes me super confident in what I'm sharing. Like I never have to worry about getting someone in an awkward situation. Like I know they're joining the best.
It's so crazy too, like how it just like evolves over time too. You being in it 3 years, it's so crazy that they're constantly just bringing out the best of the best and just so on top of everything and what's trending now and what's up to date. Like they're just always doing the most for us, and that's just something like that. And then just like Mark, you know, all of them, like who's standing behind us, like just knowing them, especially if you guys haven't gone to conference yet. If you go to conference, you're just gonna see that, and it just makes you never ever even like second guess it. Like this is my forever home. Like, you know, just like you said, it's just like, you know, that we have something. I don't know. They just care so much, and it just feels so good.
Do. Like I could never. I've always said this. Like Mark could send me a hate email and call me every name in the book, and like I would still order my keto coffee and be in love with him. Like it just is what it is. Like I'm sold all the way through. It doesn't matter what happens at that point. What's your advice with dealing with people who are rude over social media? So this has taken me a while. If you've, I don't know how many of you have followed me for how long, but it has never been my strong suit to throw things under the rug. And so this has been a growing process for me. And like one of the biggest takeaways that I have from this company is my ability to be confident in myself and understand that other people's opinions of me are none of my business. And that is still hard sometimes because I've dealt with a lot of negativity on social media. I'm not sure why people make hate pages about me and talk about me and have pictures of me and, you know, on their little stuff. And I used to like look for them. I'm not sure what kind of sick habit that was, but now I delete people and I give them one chance. And, you know, I had like a girl this morning sent me a mean message. I was like, are you all right, girl? And she was like, da, da, da. I was like, all right, like I gave you one shot. Sometimes they'll be nice, but my advice on that is just to keep being you, because those people who are mean and angry and saying things, they have a lot unsettled with them. And I know a lot of them could actually benefit from my content. So I try to leave them on there if they can keep quiet for the most part. But I definitely recommend just being confident in yourself, taking it with a grain of salt. Nobody happy says mean things. Like, I don't go around sending hate messages because I'm cool with my life. I'm happy with who I am. And that's how other happy people are. So that stuff is always about them, never about you.
And I think too, it's always like when you're doing really well, like that's when they really start to come at you because they're just like, they're literally mad. Like you said, they're not someone that's, no one that is more successful than you is ever going to say something bad about you. Just that's.
Yeah. It really, like, these days it doesn't bother me much at all. Like, if I'm having a rough day, it might get to me a little bit, but never like it was before.
Yeah.
I used to get so bent out. Like, it's so funny to think about how bent out of shape I used to get at some of the messages that I got.
Yeah. I feel like you take it like two ways. Like, I'm the type of person who like that like puts a fire underneath me. Like when I started, like it was not like, oh, I'm gonna quit. It was like, oh no, like I'm gonna prove I'm wrong. But then there's that, there's the other side where it's like, oh, I'm done. Like you just let them get to you. And it's just like, don't ever let someone
For
control.
a while there, it went from me like retaliating dramatically to me getting to, like, it kind of made me a me I didn't like like blowing my nose in a 20 kind of thing. And then I was like, that is not humble. Like, I need to get myself together. So like my New Year's resolution last year was just to give people a little bit more grace and try to understand where they're coming from and maybe try to help them a little bit. And some people, like, I'm not wasting too much of my energy. So that's been my new vibe, and it's definitely a healthier vibe. So I recommend that over like trying to prove yourself, because I felt like that's what I was doing, is trying to prove myself, and I don't have anything to prove. Advice for being new: have fun. Like, learn from, you guys are on an awesome team, so take all of the Zoom trainings that you guys have going on, try to hop on those, get excited, definitely go to conference. Like, the amount of times I've cried about possibly not going to conference is just ridiculous, but every time I go, I leave there and my check skyrockets and my team grows and everybody's excited. And like, I know they say that a lot, but it's definitely something that you should try to make it to. So I would get a ticket for that, first things first.
And a year before we know it. Anyways, we won't keep you on here much longer either, because I know it's almost been an hour. The last question, I think. Okay, I recorded this too, so if you want me to send this to you, I can.